Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michele, and you're listening to Numbers Don't Lie. We learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Well, guys, I'm super excited today because I'm reunited with someone that I met earlier this year. And I remember we had like a graduation for the business class we were in. And one of the facilitators was like, "Are y'all like cousins? Y'all like know each other before the class?" And I was like, "No, we met here." And he was like, "I would not be able to tell because we just clicked. We actually ended up sitting beside each other, and then no one ever moved. I don't know why we do that in school. Like you find your seat and you never move." Well, that happened, and we sat next to each other and we just clicked. What she does kind of it vibes well with what I do. She's really cool, really dope. She's into, guess what, y'all? Sales. Now, for all y'all out there that act like, "Oh, I have a good product, I have a good service. I'm not a salesman. I don't want to do all that. I don't want to sound like a sleazy salesman." Da, da, da. Let me tell you, everybody needs sales. Everybody needs to learn how to sell their products. It doesn't matter how good it is. There's plenty of good products that have never hit anybody else's house, that have only hit family and friends, all because they did not take the time to learn how to sell or get the help to sell. So this is for everybody that has a product or service. So I need you to go ahead and lean in, go ahead and share this podcast episode with your friends that you know are in business and they're slow, their sales are slow, or they just cannot seem to get it together. They need to hear this episode. So without further ado, please welcome to the Numbers Don't Lie stage, Ayla Ellen.
Here, claps in the background.
More soundtracks.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy you said yes. I'm so happy we finally got it together. Y'all, we've been trying to get this thing, but we finally got it together, which means this is the perfect time and somebody out there needed to hear it. So before we get into it, could you please tell the people who you are, like how you landed to this field?
Yeah, so my name is Ayla Ellen, for those of you who don't know me. I like to say I'm a gangsta guy girl. I'm a mother of a beautiful daughter. She's 8 years old, named Nyla. I love mountain hiking. I'm a speaker. I'm a kingdom sales coach. But most importantly to you all, I'm a digital sales consultant. And what that in essence means is that I help business owners not be afraid to or scared of sales and scaling online. So
I love that. Y'all don't be scared.
It was really fun. It was really funny how sales found me, or how I landed in this field. I like to say that most people in sales say, "Hey, I never went and grew up and said, oh, I want to be a salesperson when I grow up." Right. That definitely wasn't the case for me, but I actually, since the third grade, wanted to be a dermatologist. And that's a whole nother story we'll get into.
That's what everybody think I do when I tell them I'm an epidemiologist. They be like, "With the skin, right?" I'm like, no.
Not that kind of doctor, not really. But yeah, I was 18. I had just turned 18 the same day I graduated high school. And I remember running over to my godfather's house and I signed up for my first direct sales company because for a little brown girl like me, who grew up underprivileged, sales just seemed like the opportunity to really give back to my mom and my family in a way that, I wanted to. So
Cool. That is definitely different because I didn't have any experience with sales. I think the only experience I had with sales is being sold to. I think that's how my mama got her encyclopedias. I think how most Black family got their encyclopedias. And then I remember I had bought my first house and it was these two guys came over. Like hindsight, I was like, "Girl, you let these two men in your house that you did not know." They were selling the Kirby vacuum cleaners. I ain't gonna lie, I wanted one, but it was like $2,000. I was like, I gotta think about that. Hold on now.
That's funny. Like I didn't do the door-to-door Kirby sales, but I did do two types of door sales. And one was I sold people knives. So, but I did a lot of referral based selling. So I kind of knew who I was going into selling to. But I'm like, if I could get people to open their door with a set of knives, I'm like, I'm probably good at this.
That's real. Who was it? Cutco?
Yes, yes. It was my college sales career. Yes.
That's hilarious. I think I knew met somebody else that they got their sales experience started in college with Cutco. So Cutco, if you out there, you got a lot of people starting on their way. We need to get them to sponsor this episode. So you talked about your early sales experience, but you stepped out on faith in 2020. I think a lot of us did because I think that's when I incorporated my business in 2020. Could you tell us before we really get into the sales, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening, like what's your personal lessons that you've already learned about like taking risk in entrepreneurship?
Man, so I actually started doing sales and doing digital sales back in 2016. After I had my daughter, that's kind of when I went full throttle. And then it was a side hustle up until then. And then 2020 is like all of us was like, okay, this is the time to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it was really the what I would tell people that for me, that it was faith that allowed me to take risks.
Mm.
I felt like my backing was God, like he could see things that I couldn't see. And that's how I was able to step out on faith and start to build this thing. Now, what he didn't tell me was all of the things that you had to learn and grow through. So the past 4 years has been this learning journey of growing from a saleswoman to a businesswoman. And that took courses like where you and I met, where I got to learn how to use data and numbers to mitigate risks so I
Mm-hmm.
could approach my business more, intentionally.
I love that. Yeah. I think that is true. Like people think numbers and data is scary, but I'm like, no, it helps set boundaries and goals. It
Mhm.
helps you know, have you met those goals? It's just very concrete. And that's very much like me. Like I'm a concrete type of person. Either you did or you didn't. Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, let's not all cut out all this talking. Let's get to business. And data helps you do that. It helps you get to business.
And
And go
I
ahead.
think I think that one thing that I really want to highlight is like when you're going from like a not having a business or maybe not even knowing anyone who had a successful business to
Mm.
now having one, data is so important. And the first data that God helped me to understand was like, I need you to look at your budget and not just your business budget, but your home
That's
budget.
real.
I think a lot of people aren't used to managing a home budget, but they get into business and wonder why the numbers aren't numbering,
Yeah.
why they're not working. What's the math? It's not mathing, because you didn't take the time to steward your home budget, which was in preparation to grow that business.
Pew,
And
pew,
those
pew,
are the
pew.
data, those are the numbers that you need, the skills that you need to do so. So,
Absolutely. And funny you said that. I actually started in business as a financial coach.
wow, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
And that was
That's
girl, and that was one of my I think one of my first, well, it was like one of the early I used to do webinars, like for real. That was one of my early webinars, like your first businesses at home.
amazing.
And I was talking about being able to manage your personal finances, which is, could be a spreadsheet, could be an app or whatever. But you were so right. Like we transition over how we do our home life and our personal life and our relationships. And we transition that over into business, like you said, and we wonder why things aren't working. Like, well, you never learn how to resolve conflict over here, so you don't know how to manage it when it comes up with your business. Or when you have employees aren't working, you never learn to manage your money over here, so you're making a mess over here. You're intermingling funds. It's a whole thing. So data does help you. Personal finance is it's like your very first piece of data.
Yeah,
But we here
more.
to talk about sales. Y'all like, all right, enough of that. We here to talk about these sales.
Man, we got
And
another number.
so you're into UGC, so user generated content.
Yes.
Could you explain, like, first of all, what is UGC? Because you're like the second person that I've heard talk about it. Only one other person I've heard. So could you explain to our listeners what user generated content is and
Mhm.
why it's becoming such a powerful marketing tool for like such a time as this?
Yes. So that was actually that was the pivot to doing UGC or user generated content was actually a decision that my data made for me, right? And so before I get into that, I'll explain what user generated content is. So it actually has been done before. You've seen it before. When you go and you see ads created from business owners, brands alike, they typically are showcasing testimonials. That is a form of user generated content where the business is not producing the content, but actually the consumer is. And so, what brands are doing now, because of the rise of TikTok and Instagram Reels, they're making it so much more popular for people to be able to create content, review a product, and then create content around that product. And that looks like personal reviews, testimonials, those open boxes, or come with me to this event. Those types of content are considered user generated, and it's to create more trusted form of marketing from a brand because the consumer is actually giving that review.
And now that you say that, I did it, and I don't think I realized that it was called user generated content, because I actually did a presentation. This was maybe early this year, and it was about cold traffic, right? And so we were, talking about cold traffic because a lot of us have to engage with people we don't know in order to get sales, whether we like it or not. I know you mentioned referrals before, and a lot of people start off with referrals, but they will quickly tell you that well can run dry because it's based on like your network may run out. So cold traffic, eventually most people will have to interact with that. So let me pull something up that I mentioned from that, because you were talking about how some more trusted source. And a lot of times if we think about in history, it may have started off with like commercial with celebrities. Yeah. Right? Like these are people we trust. They're like faces that we're constantly around, like, oh, they seem to be trustworthy. Let me trust it. But I like how you said it's transitioned to like in the TikTok era.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'll clarify too. One thing about user generated content is that it was created mostly for when you see influencers have brand or marketing campaigns, they have to put that paid ad. They're promoting a product. But what those influencers are doing, the brand is utilizing the influencer's audience.
Yes.
With user generated content, a creator can start today and not have an audience, but still get paid to do that user generated content. You're creating content for the brand's social platform to promote to their existing audience. And so that's the difference between influencer marketing versus user generated creative.
I'm glad you made that difference, because what I pulled up, it was influencer marketing. So I'm glad you made that distinction. But what I do think they have, because it's taken off, like it's not slowing down. Did you know that data-driven organizations were 19 times more profitable? 19. You heard me right. Perhaps you're asking, what is data-driven and how do I become one of those organizations? I'm so glad you asked. I want you to go take a quiz. It's a simple, quick quiz to help you assess if you are in fact one of those organizations. Head over to mogulbeginnings.com/data into dollars quiz now. That's mogulbeginnings.com. You can just go to mogulbeginnings.com and it'll show you the data into dollars quiz. Take it now. You'll see if you're on your way to 19xing your profitability. You're listening to Numbers Don't Lie on KCCR Cityscape. We hope you're enjoying the tunes and all the jams. Make sure you visit our website over at brownstoneworldwide.com to learn about all things Brownstone. You can check out Brownstone Living Magazine and all the great things that we have on the website, as well as the shop. You just got to head over to the website, brownstoneworldwide.com.
Keeping it locked to KCCR Radio,
my station,
the Brownstone Center. And don't forget, no matter where you go, there we are.
But it talked about something you just said, how the people that we know, like these are everyday people. You might even follow them and you see them promoting something for a brand. You're more likely to stop and listen than like you're like, who is it? Who is the CEO? Like, I don't know the CEO that doesn't even have a TikTok account. You know what I'm saying? Because viewers did say, it says 49, this is for influencer recommendations, but it's very similar because this their face. 49% of consumers depend on influencer recommendations, and 69% of consumers trust what influencers say and recommend. So if they're doing this ad for Colgate, talking about this is where I got my smile, they're like, Girl, I was bought me a wig off of TikTok the other day. I was like, dang, that do look good.
Mm-hmm. And it's really what I love is like is bringing it one. It's really just digitizing what referral based marketing was for local business owners,
Analogy,
just bringing
yeah.
it to a digital platform. And what I love about it is that with influencer marketing, you see more influencers promoting that product to their audience, but they're able to do that because they built trust with that audience.
Yes.
But if you have a brand that doesn't have that trust built, then people who are using that Colgate, who are using that wig, is really reminding you of the, 2012, 2014 YouTube era where people would try on, hey, this is the product. I'm trying it. This is how it works with my hair. I cut my hair back in 2012, so I was knee deep into YouTube.
Me too, girl.
And so when I could see people using that product on their hair type that was similar to my hair type, it really encouraged me to get that product more. And so really that's what user generated content is really doing for us today.
That's dope. I never thought about it as just the digital form of affiliate. Well, you say affiliate or referral?
Referral marketing.
I never put the one two together. So you say, you often say that around 80% of consumers trust user generated content, for their marketing. How do you think this is going to impact traditional advertising? Because we still have radio, we still have TV ads, we still have billboards. Like, how do you think it's going to impact the traditional forms of marketing?
Yeah, so nothing is new under the sun. It's just innovated, right? It's just doing it a new way. And user generated content currently has 28% lift in engagement. So those brands that are posting content that are created by users, then they're seeing more engagement on their profiles. They're seeing more engagement in their followers. And even more than that, when we talk about sales, companies are seeing 29% increase in web conversions, which leads to sales generated from that user generated content because they see someone like them or similar to them promoting that type of product.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So I could start doing UGC.
So this is where I see user generated content going for coaches, consultants, the online space. Right now, there are just a lot of brands that has the financial backing to pay their content creators to make content for their own social medias. Where I see coaches and consultants really leveraging this type of marketing, this type of sales campaigns is utilizing their consumers who are in their courses, who are in their, who use their products and really putting them at the forefront of their marketing versus the brand or that person. And what you see now is a lot of brands, or not brands, but a lot of coaches and consultants, they are actually the creator of the program, and they're the ones that's promoting it. And we have way more trusted, kind of intelligent buyers these days.
Yeah.
We have way more intelligent buyers these days, especially when I can Google you and see if you are legit or not. They're looking for sources that are trusted. When you promote and put on the forefront your consumers who are actually in the program, and that becomes a part of your content strategy, that becomes a part of your sales marketing, sales campaign strategy, then you'll see more people really putting that trust in you as well. And so I see you and people who are coaches and consultants in the past, all they did was testimonial create content, right? Hey, this is someone who did really well with the course. You can see a landing page right now and you'll scroll down and you'll see all the testimonials. This is how the course worked for me, right? But it is a very beautiful way when you can actually create content around, hey, what does it look like for a busy mom to implement this type of program in her life? Instead of saying, hey, it takes you 4 hours to do this course a week, show that mom that's doing it 4 hours, 4 hours course of a week. Come with me this week as I dive into this program, right? as I learn this skill. So I think more coaches and consultants are going to have to innovate the way that they're looking at the people who are actually walking through their programs and truly make them, raving fans. As we
Wow.
see nowadays, if you go to a movie and find a good movie you
Mm-hmm.
like.
That's good. And that to me, that's a good reminder that because as much as I'm a rah girl for data and numbers, it also just reminded me that it doesn't stand alone. So we can spout out like, oh, 70% of people that took this course or did this, they did that. But like you said, like people just are not as trusting and and that can be very boring. But if you're pairing that with good content, then to me that's what like this I do like narratives and impact reports, and I will tell even my clients like, okay, yes, we need data, but we also need the other stuff
Mhm.
too, because I ain't gonna lie, like I love, much as I love numbers, if that's all you had, is boring. So I love pairing it with something like you said, like with the content, with something that is very relatable. Getting people like, oh, I could put myself in her shoes. She's like me. I'm a busy mom. Like, okay, I have two daughters too. I love that. So to me, they go together. It's not one or the other. It is both, because people do want to understand that, like, okay, yes, this is busy mom, but for real, what's your success rate? So they do go together.
Yeah. And actually you can I help to create sales campaigns for
Mm-hmm.
organizations. And I think when you talk about coaches and consultants, really putting the number behind their content strategy, when I look at how a content piece is performing, marketing metrics are completely separate or different than sales metrics,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's good.
They do align. Statistically right now, about 60% of your client's buyer journey is marketing, but that 40% is sales.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really leaving them if you're not really intentional about how do I transform them from just this content that I'm pushing out to connect with them to really a closed cart. And
That's
so
good.
I like to focus on the closed cart KPIs. Where are they now? Where do they turn from cold to warm to hot to buyers?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at how organizations are using an ad, and then they have four, organic content pieces in congruent that's going on their social platform as that ad is being promoted, they see a 4 times engagement and cart close. They see a 4 times increase of their income
Mm-hmm.
because of that type of style of ad. Because what do you do when you scroll? You go and you press that person. Who is this person that's scrolling on my feed? Okay, this ad is really good, but you click that face and you go and look on their page as well. And if you see that same content or that same user that is in that ad that's being promoted on that actual feed, going into depth about that type of program, product, or service, then you're likely to get that person to the cart quicker.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do think sometimes we forget that it's the full cycle that we need to be concerned about. Because I do think sometimes people get stuck in their silos of like sales, sales, sales. They forget that you have to get people to the sales call. Like there's a whole lot of marketing. So we be waiting to get the calls, but there's no sales. I mean, there's no marketing. And then you have people that can make beautiful pages, great content, but then once people are interested, there's, like you said, no intentionality to get them to close. So I love how you said, like, we need everything. You need to attract people, you need to warm them up, you need to get them ready to buy. But once they're ready to buy, like you have to have a process, you gotta have something. Like I've heard plenty of stories about how like people have all these followers and try to sell something. Well, first of all, you have a lot of people that have a lot of followers can't sell nothing. And
Girl,
then, you know what I'm
right,
saying? And then, because followers don't always end up in dollars.
right.
It takes intentionality, like you said. But then you have people that are ready to sell something, but they have no process on the back end. So it's just like, oh, I'm gonna sell this ebook or I'm gonna sell this T-shirt. But it's just like, okay, what's the link? Okay,
Mhm,
like, are you capturing emails? So
mhm.
like, how are you delivering it? So it's like a whole thing. So it's like, I'm so glad you reminded us that it's the full thing that you need to be concerned about. Is not just one or the other.
And what I find working with clients is that they are, it's easier to get on social media once you get over that hump of getting
Yes.
yourself out there, right? But it's easier to stay in that phase, like of, okay, I'm promoting, I'm pushing myself out there. And but to get to that sales part of it, they were scared just to
Yeah.
get on social media, or scared and nervous of what people think or comparison. And they find themselves trapped in this marketing silo where they're just marketing, trying to promote a product, trying to sell a product, but it is not landing. And so you find those influencers who have a lot of followers, but it doesn't translate to dollars because they are scared of that closing piece, which is really what I do, where I do the work to get them over that fear of sales. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I love that you said that, like, I do the work. I help you get over that fear, because a lot of times in entrepreneurship, we're trying to do everything on our own. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't have to. So like you and I took a course because we know, like, we don't know everything. So if you're listening, if you're one of those solopreneurs, especially if you've been a solopreneur for years and you haven't been able to, rest like you thought you were going to be able to rest, like, sometimes it's okay to reach out for help. And one way you can get there is making sure you got your marketing game together as well as your sales. And Miss Ayla Ellen helps you do that. So I'll put both your names together. Ayla Ellen, Aylin, Aylin. How can they find you, someone that can help them on their way?
Yeah, so you can find me on all social media platforms at Ayla Ellen Elevate. That's AYLAELLENELEVATE. You can also go to my website at AylaEllenConsulting.com, and you can navigate there and find everything that you need to connect with me.
Awesome. So make sure y'all connect with Ayla. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in because I'm like, you're the second person I heard about this UGC, and I still feel like, even though it's probably so common to you, it's new to a lot of people. And so those that get in early and on the ground floor tend to benefit most. So I'm about to be having to tune in to Ayla and get on her sale. I need to get in that funnel because I want to know, like, I want to see how I can, 4X or 10X my business doing something that's probably not as hard as I think it is. So, I think that's really the barrier. We think it's so hard or so much. I'm like, it's probably not as hard as you think it is. You just need to get connected with the right people to help you. So,
right. And you know what? I need to do the work with you because data really grows your business. Even for me speaking, and I'll just say this and we can close, but even for me speaking, I use data to educate my audience, right? Because people buy emotionally, and that's really what people are doing. They're buying emotionally, but they justify that with logic. And so and so the data is the justification. So without that data, then you have a buyer who is unstable. And you want to make sure you have a confident buyer. So I need to get with you so I can really nail in the data research that I'm looking to do to grow entrepreneurs.
Awesome. So you see how it all works together, y'all. It all works together. So make sure you reach out to Ayla. And you can reach out to me, Dr. Michele. I'm on all platforms, website, Mogul Beginnings. So you literally can Google Mogul Beginnings and find me everywhere. It's MOGUL, Mogul Beginnings. Yeah, reach out to me. I'm very reachable, very findable. You can get in my cycle. And I actually had let me see if I might need to put that testimony out on Tuesday. She's a new client, and she was like, came through referral. And I was just so happy to be exactly who she was looking for. And she was like, because she could find me, this is for all those that are hiding and haven't put themselves out there, anything. She was like, I looked on your LinkedIn. She was like, I looked on, I think that was really what sold her, but I was on LinkedIn. I think she might have looked at my website. She was like, I saw that you had a background in research and all this stuff, and you're not just like some random person that's saying they can do stuff. And I think that's why our buyers have gotten so educated, because there was a time when all these coaches and consultants said they could do something that they could not do. And so you need to make sure that you put yourself out there as an expert. And some of your expertise is your your personal training, like your school and all that stuff. Don't hide any of that stuff. That's why the UGC and marketing in general is so beneficial, because people are looking for you. Like, she was really looking for somebody like me. I just so happened to show up at the right time, and I presented myself in a way that it was a no-brainer for her to sign up. So what we talking about, y'all? We're not just talking, like, this is for real, for real. So make sure you connect with Ayla if you need to connect for your data needs. You already heard about my quiz, go take that. But yeah, connect with me, Mogul Beginnings or mogulbeginnings.com. I can't wait to talk with you. I hope you connect with Ayla. And again, thank you for listening to another episode of Numbers Don't Lie here on the Brownstone. Make sure you connect with us on brownstoneworldwide.com as well. Have tons of things out there. It's a marketplace. There's a radio station, all the things. Just go to brownstoneworldwide.com. And thank you again, guys. Until next time.